Okay, excellent. Okay, okay, I think this is working theoretically. We're just gonna hope. Hit that. Clear. Okay, cool. Um, It appears, yeah, I think everything is correct in here. I honestly have no idea, but yeah, we're gonna just oh, cool. Yeah, cool. Perfect. It's there. What's up? How are you guys doing? Oh, man. Okay. Sick. All right. Um I think today the stuff I want to go over here is going to be, well, I'm testing a bunch of things here. Really, I just want to test out I have a couple videos I want to record and a bunch of stuff I want to do. Just want to see how this feels doing it live. I feel like I'm generally speaking better on my feet and I'm better. Whenever I'm thinking about videos and stuff, it's way easier for me to sort of just imagine it like talking to someone, and it's very weird just sitting here talking to the camera. So I'm gonna see. I want to see how this feels. I don't really have any ambitions to do a huge amount of streaming stuff, but I think this might be a really good way to actually record videos and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead real quick here. I'm gonna do. Let me put this link out on Discord and Twitter. And then once we've done that, we're gonna go ahead and I want to show you guys I want to show you guys some of the stuff I've been working on here, which I think is really cool. Let's see. So we go here. Sorry, I'm fumbling around on the back end. So it's this content, live, this guy, this link here. Right, let's go to Twitter. All right. Ono and SvelteKit working together, as well as we'll do this. We will, oh, no, I don't want a GIF. I want this. We want this. Let's add this right here. Let's hit that and we'll post these. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to do the Discord and we will get started. This. This, everyone going for a bit doing. This, send. Dope. Okay. I think that's all set. Make sure that's working. Go back over here. All looks good. All right, cool. Oh yeah, how'd that end up going? Yeah, I know. I hadn't put the screen out. That should work now. Yeah. Yeah, let me know how the e-commerce is working. I'm going to talk about this at some point, but I'm definitely going to go through and rework some stuff in there. Yeah, the Stripe stuff was a bit weird. It's very much, I mean, for an e-commerce site, honestly, I think kind of what I've realized and learned is that this would probably be a lot better off if we were just using like Shopify or something. And honestly, we're kind of changing some stuff with Sediment to where we probably will end up just incorporating Shopify. Stripe is great, but I think it makes a lot more sense for just generally for the like SaaS type stuff. Because really, doing it all super custom was kind of a pain. But yeah, we'll talk about that another time. For right now, let's talk about Hono and the stuff I'm doing here. So let's go over here. Let's go to hono.dev. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar, I have a video recorded for this already, but I think I want to talk about this live because there's some stuff I want to kind of discuss here. Hono is very similar to Express or to Fastify or any of these like backend HTTP server type things. But it has some extra stuff on top of it, which I think is really, really dope. And what I want to show you, what you can do is you can stick this into your full stack JS framework and use it as like a separate API in there. and allow you to define routes via Hono and via a Hono server, but then serve them through a SvelteKit app. I know that sounds kind of weird, but let me just show you. Let me show you how this actually works. It's pretty cool. So we'll do cd SvelteKit BYOB Slim. This whole thing was inspired by this BYOB template. I did not make it. Let me grab. I should know this off the top of my head. I think it was in the. Let me not leak stuff here. It was in the Discord. Sorry, I keep forgetting your name, but I want to credit this. Where is it? It's here. It's in Svelte. It's oh yeah, perfect. No, that's mine. Whoops. Yeah, Rekuno. Yes, he did a fantastic job here and built this guy. So let me copy that. We'll quit this. We'll go back to camera cutout. So this was inspired by this repo, this bring your own backend template thing. Basically what it allows us to do is mount a Hono server within our SvelteKit backend. And the reason why I'm interested in doing this in the first place is for one of the projects I'm building right now. This guy right here we're actually really deep in development. I might show this off later during stream, but we need to get a backend working for this. What the heck? What the heck? Why am I getting Zapier ads? Whoops. Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay. So yeah, pretty much what we need to do is we need to get we need a dedicated backend for this, because initially I was just using Supabase to kind of thug this one out and just run everything client side, but that has very quickly become just unwieldy and is not going to work. So I want a separate backend. This is where Golang would make a lot of sense, but realistically, I want to get this done pretty quickly. And the friction between me getting this shipped for doing it in JS versus doing it in Go, it's going to be so much faster in JS. So I just want to get it shipped. So that's what we're going to be looking at here. So let me open up this guy in VS Code. Oh, hopefully that didn't have anything important in it. I don't think it did. So if we go ahead and run code dot, I made a very basic example app here. We'll do pnpm run dev. We'll go ahead here. We'll open this up in development. I will talk about this. Why go Elysia over Hono? Actually, I don't know enough about Elysia to be able to say. The reason why I like Hono is because it's so lightweight and works super well in these lightweight sort of edge style runtimes, which is what we're sort of going for here. Let me actually go ahead and pop this out over here. Let's do that, and let's bring this over here. Okay, there we go. Okay. Why Hono over Elysia? Yes, well, that's what we'll talk about here in a second. And I'll also talk about what block is and the whole use case for all this, because I want to kind of turn this into a video, I think. I'm trying to think of what the best way to do this is, but we'll see. But for right now, what I did is I put together a little example app. We can sign in with GitHub using Lucia auth. Go ahead and run this. It'll take a moment to cold start because I think it's going to connect. Yeah, the database was sleeping. But basically what we can do here is it's just a basic to-do app, which is nothing special or different. But what is sort of different about this is the way our backend is working. So within my routes directory here, we have this API directory, API slugs, and then this server.ts. What this guy does in here is this is actually going through and serving out, this is going through and actually serving the Hono API, which is being created within this lib API directory. So you look at this index.ts file, what this actually is this is a full dedicated Hono server, effectively. So it's very similar to like an Express server or something like that, but we can mount this into our fullstack.js app. And obviously you could just solve this to get, because the whole point of this is to get actual like dedicated normal HTTP routes here, like get requests and post requests for an API. You could do that just using these server.ts files, but this will get really unwieldy and be a massive pain in the ass pretty quickly. So, generally speaking, what I've found is this feels like a much better way of doing this because now I can go ahead and for my users, I can have my users endpoints here. I can have my to-dos endpoints here. I can do all this stuff. And what's even cooler that I can do on top of this is we can go into my, if you look at like the server.ts routes here, on my, here, we're actually calling locals.api.todos.get. And that's because Hono has access to the, it has access to this stuff. What do they call it? Yeah, RPC. The RPC feature is really dope because you can call these endpoints and stuff directly in your with full end-to-end type safety in the same app, um, which is really nice. No, it did not quite scaffold all the auth. I had to go through and do that. This is we're gonna turn this into a template, I think. I need to figure out exactly the best way I want to do this. Very much want to create a I want to create a sort of like uh CLI creation tool type thing for SvelteKit. I think the ecosystem really needs it. But I'm not entirely sure exactly how I want to do that. And I'm not sure exactly how to do that. This I went through and built myself. I can link the code base to this if you guys want to see it. Let me go here to GitHub. We'll go to it's similar to TRPC. It's a very similar idea, but it's a lot more lightweight and it does not have nearly, it doesn't have nearly as many features and it's more of just kind of a normal REST API server instead of a dedicated new system for doing things. It doesn't wrap like React Query or anything like that. It's just literally, it's just HTTP verb. So this is literally just a normal GET request that's wrapped in a type safe wrapper effectively. This is just wrapping the fetch. It's not nearly as feature rich as TRPC. We'll do BYOB. Slim. We'll do this. Let's hit that. Let's do that. Okay. What camera do I use? I use the ZV-E10, the Sony. It works fine. I have not had too many issues with it. It seems to be pretty good. Double check everything here. I just want to make sure that this is working. Okay, yeah, my internet continues to kind of be terrible. Working on this. I'm running, I think, through an Ethernet cable. I mean, it should be, this should be better than it is. Yeah, like hypothetically, this should be better, but streaming, it just does not, it doesn't like it for some reason. I don't know why, but we'll get that figured out eventually. So yeah, basically that's what we're working on is I built out this little example application. It's using Hono and it's using SvelteKit. And I went ahead and I actually deployed this thing to Vercel. We'll go into, I think I did it under my personal account. Yeah, I did. Yeah, the BYOB Slim. I'm going to delete this by the end of the stream. Please be nice to this URL. But yeah, basically what you can do in here. Yeah, this is Arc. Oh, also, what's up, Sebi? Yeah, so we went ahead, put this together. And yeah, I'm trying to think, how do I sort of want to go through and do this? Okay, so let's go ahead and first things first, let's make sure everything that I need is actually here. So we've got roots look good. The to-do section we have our yeah, we're fetching everything here in the load function. The actions, we're able to run the post request, so I can talk about that. With the deployment, I actually want to switch this over to I want to change the runtime to just be Edge because we don't need, I think we can run this entire thing on Edge and that should speed it up. So let me go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and redeploy. Edge, hit push. Okay. So how is the middleware from Hono used in SvelteKit? So that, let me show you guys how that works. And this is a really cool thing that I like. And this works in any of the full stack JS frameworks. But basically what we're doing here is within my app.d.ts, I added to my locals interface, which this is just stuff that we can attach in our hooks.server. And I went ahead and attached this API, and this API has a client type of API. And this client type is being imported from our actual, where are you? Lib slash API slash index. Down here at the bottom, we are exporting a client type because what Hono allows us to do is it allows us to create a type safe client to actually call our endpoints from. We can use this both client side and server side. In this case, I'm just using it server side to effectively wrap all of these endpoints. In a real application, I don't think I would do this. I'll talk about that because I'm basically going to turn this into a video. So I'll talk about that when we get to that point. But effectively what we're doing here is I'm just defining a bunch of endpoints here. So I'm defining my user endpoints, I'm defining my to-dos endpoints, and then what we can do over here is within our hooks.server.ts, we can go ahead and create a new Hono client on every request so that we have a way to actually access this. Then we can go ahead, assign this to event.locals.api, and then we just resolve our event like normal. Then we go over to any of our endpoints here. The best example is just going to be like the to-dos endpoint. We can go in here within our load function. We can grab our user info, which I'll show you that in a moment. And we can go down here and then say locals.api.todos.get because this whole thing is type safe because it's just the Hono client. So we do locals.api dot, we can do to-dos or users or just the root get. So we're going to do to-dos dot get. And then this will go ahead and return, let's do const demo equals await. And then the type of demo will be a client response. And then the data of that client response will be this array of to-dos. And that's all being inferred over here from our actual, where is it? From our actual get request. So we're fetching from the to-dos table and getting everything printed out here. This whole system to me is really cool and really nice. It is the whole system here feels really good, and this is a lot of the reason why I've been such a fan of this full stack JS system is getting this end-to-end type safety and inferred types just makes my life so much easier. Having this res be properly typed makes a huge difference, and that's been one of the coolest things that we can do here in Hono. My bro had a question on Railway usage. Do you have a separate environments for dev and prod? So when I sync changes from dev to prod. Huh, that's interesting. I have not seen that. Let me go ahead. I think, is there anything hidden on my, no, there's nothing important here. Yeah, we can go in here. So I can just show you like the, a great example is, I mean, this is like one of the biggest, railway projects I have. We can add these environments in here. I have not actually been doing, we haven't added any dev environments or anything. All of Insider Viz is getting rewritten right now, so this will actually disappear pretty soon. This is a Golang server hosted on it, which is insanely fast and works insanely well. So honestly, I don't know. I haven't tested anything with environments, but I do like that they have these. I want to try those out. Let's see. Do you need to have your Hono to? Yes, you do need to have it in the same repo to be called as an RPC, or you can run this in a mono repo setup. I should probably make a demo for that at some point because I'll talk about what I'm actually using this for when we talk about like the full apps and that kind of thing. But really what we can do with this is it'll give us a way to get this end-to-end type safety. So we could have, let me just write this down in here. So if we had like slash my app right here, and then we could have our underneath my app, we could have something like a packages directory. And then within packages, we can have API. An API can literally just be this Hono directory. It can be a full Hono server that's floating there. And then we can just pick where we want to mount and serve that. Because we're not actually, if you look here, we're not actually serving this anywhere. We're just exporting our app. And then once we've done that, we can go ahead and just mount this into our API /slugs/server. And then this way, anytime we make a request to API / whatever the path is in our Hono server, it will actually serve that, which is super, super nice. Let me check and see. I think I finished deploying that. If you're syncing changes from dev to prod, overwrite change, it should overwrite prod, but it shouldn't have any, it shouldn't do anything with what's it called? Dev. Dev shouldn't be impacted, like your staging branch should just still be your staging branch. But yeah, you should be overriding prod. Like if I The very typical workflow I have is generally speaking will have like a let me show you guys. We'll go to GitHub. We'll go to Insider Viz. We'll go to our repositories. We'll go to this guy right here. We have a main branch and a dev branch. So we don't have the full CI/CD set up yet because we're kind of rebuilding everything right now. But what we can do is whenever we make a change, we push it up to dev, and then that will deploy it to a staging branch. And then once we've done that, we can merge it into main, and then that will deploy our main version. So that should override the main version when you do that. Let's see. Let me double check my deployments, make sure that worked. Okay, that looks good. Everything in here. One functions. Yep. Full edge global. If we go to this guy, should be really fast. Testing new. Create. Yeah, that's really fast. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, Sean, I'm honestly not sure. I'm not sure what your system here looks like. Not remap all the Git deployment branches in prod. I mean, I would assume as soon as you change prod, it would rerun all of the CI/CDs attached to prod, is my guess. Curious to see the reason to go back to the TypeScript ecosystem. I definitely want to talk about this today. I kind of have I have an idea in my head here of how I want to talk about this. And it's basically, the thesis of it is it's just all about the friction between me actually building stuff and writing stuff, and trying to get that to be as minimal as humanly possible, because there is just a lot less friction between me actually creating something in like a TypeScript world or something like that than there is me creating something in just like fully custom and Go and putting that in Docker and doing all these things. So we'll talk about that in a second here. Okay, cool. So we went ahead, we ran this guy in here, we have everything working. So yeah, basically this repo is overriding the branches in prod environment as the dev environment's branches. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not fully sure what you guys are talking about here. I think the way I generally do my CI/CD stuff, and this is another thing kind of that falls into what I was just talking about, is I very much just lean heavily into the like built-in Git integrations. We do everything with our different Git branches. So whenever you push something to like the main branch of Sentiment Art or the SvelteKit e-commerce site, that's going to go ahead and rerun all of the CI/CDs for that, which will go ahead and redeploy the Vercel. If we had like any database stuff attached to this, it would rerun that, which we don't. But that whole thing, that's how we would do that there. Okay. So we've got this right here. So yeah, effectively what we're doing here is we just have our lib API. We have our index.ts. We fetch all our data in here. We can go ahead and run this through here. So yeah, what are the... I'm trying to think exactly all the things that I kind of want to go over in this video, because there's a lot here, and I've already shot the Hono video once. There's a lot I want to talk about, and I feel like I missed some things in there. I think this is a good example of how you could use it for sure, but I don't think that this is how I would actually end up using it in the real world. And I'll give you an example here. Like within our to-dos directory here, basically what we're doing here and the way this is actually getting used. Yeah, Sean, just hit me up on Twitter. It's going to be so much easier for me to get that. It's hard to get like more complicated questions and stuff figured out over YouTube chat. It just does not work super well. So really what this effectively is, and the way I'm using this is very similar in this implementation to just const get to-dos equals await our async function, and then we just go ahead and run this right here. So like it's very similar to this. actually doing something like this in the way we're actually running it, because the way these are actually being called on the routes themselves, if we go into our to-dos route right here, we're just doing locals.api.todos.get. So we're basically just we're basically calling our own backend here to fetch stuff out, which is cool that we can do this. But really what the benefit of this, I think, to me would be actually exposing these to our end users and actually having a dedicated API. And that's the whole reason I did this thing in the first place, is because I have a project that I'm working on right now, which is going to need a dedicated API like this. Oh, another thing too here is this little parse API response. This is a really useful function which was in the original repo, which is effectively just it wraps our fetch call and just puts it in a much nicer thing. So instead of having to do like response.json and text and making sure everything's good, it'll go ahead and just put our it'll put it in this nice format of data, error, and status, which is really, really nice. So we can just go through and actually fetch those things. So yeah, there we go. We have this, have all this stuff. It's running on the Vercel Edge network, which I want to learn more about how that actually works, because it feels really good. And I heard a lot about Edge for a while, and then everyone just went silent about it. I think another sort of provider I want to test out is going to be Cloudflare. I haven't done I've tried using Cloudflare before. I know that they are really fast and work really well. I just need to actually do something there. Yes, KVD, that's exactly right. The forwarding request to the backend is exactly like, this is very much really, actually, this is a great way of displaying the sort of same concept of, this is effectively just proxying requests. So what you're doing here, and this is an example, but you're going through and you're on the load function here, you're making a backend request here, and then you're proxying that to another backend request, which this just feels redundant to me. I totally get the whole idea of like not wanting to put database calls within your load function or something if you wanted to make like some abstractions there or whatever. Personally, I don't care that much, at least early on. But if that's something you did want to do, I totally get why you would want to like create a separate backend here. And what you can do with this effectively is this creates a separate backend server, which can also be hosted anywhere you want. So this API, I'm not going to show this here, but Josh Tried Coding did a good video on this where you can actually deploy this as its own separate thing, basically. So we can just deploy this API directory by itself to wherever we want. So like I could deploy this to Cloudflare to get that performance increase, and then deploy the rest of my site to Vercel to get the front end cloud DX increase. So that would be one way of doing it. And the main benefit of this over using something like Golang or something like that would be we don't have to deal with the pain of getting types between our Golang app and our SvelteKit app. In this example, we are using Terso. That's another thing too today, actually, I think we could talk about. Let me go ahead, make a list of the sort of stuff I want to talk about here. I think it's very much going to be, let's just do, yeah, I'm using Terso here. I think I want to talk about the plan and scale stuff. Obviously, I've already made a video about that, so I don't want to talk about plan and scale specifically, but I do want to kind of get into what some different alternatives that we could potentially be using to plan and scale, and some of the things that I'm looking at. The big one is SQLite for me right now. I have a video planned. I haven't made it yet, but it's basically titled Betting on SQLite, because I'm trying to make the call right now for one of my bigger projects that I'm working on. Is I'm at the point where I need to pick the database for it. And initially the plan was going to be PlanetScale, but we're probably like 6 months out from launch, and this is just a bootstrapped project here. So I really don't feel like paying $40 a month for it. And B, I kind of want something, I don't know. I don't love the rug pull and stuff that happened there. I'm pretty keen to look for an alternative at this point. So I think, yeah, I want to talk about different databases we can use. And currently the ones that I'm most interested in are SQLite, which would be Terso and D1. Cloudflare D1 and Terso are kind of at the top of my list right now. Cloudflare D1 looks really good. The biggest problem with it is it seems, at least from what I understand so far, it's super deeply baked into Cloudflare workers. Um, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's not as native SQLite-y as Terso is, and that's one thing I really like here. Um, Yeah, that's actually a great point. Yeah, if you are using Drizzle, you can definitely migrate out of SQLite. And I think that's definitely a thing is like if you get to the point, and this is something my friends and I have been talking about a ton lately, which I think is kind of important, is if you get to the point where like Terso just doesn't work for you anymore, or Vercel just doesn't work for you anymore. Like the scale at which that happens is so much bigger than I think a lot of people understand or get. And I was totally guilty of this when I first started. I remember like 2.5, 3 years ago when I was first getting into like web dev, I was doing some client work for a restaurant locally. I was friends with the owner, really liked him, and I was scared shitless that like I was gonna like spin up a Vercel project or something like that, and then it's gonna like suddenly, if you get like 10 users, it's gonna start costing $10,000 a month or something like that. And you can get really far on the free plans of a lot of these projects, and a lot of these can go a lot further than you think. Like I feel like for all of the projects I'm building right now, if we got to the point where we completely like outgrew Terso and we're outpacing them in scale or something, the project has grown so far so fast and we've gotten so big that like we've already won, and we can eat the cost of like migrating it over because like it did its job. It allowed us to build it in a reasonable amount of time with a good experience without having to so I don't know. I need to turn that into a video as well, but we'll talk about that later. How did I install Gmail as an app? It's not an app. It's just a bookmark. Terso just does a really good job of like having advanced bookmark type things where you can some apps, there's not that many, but some of them will actually have enhanced functionality like Gmail. So Gmail is running in the background right now and it'll give me some information in Arc, which is really nice. I've been a huge fan of been using Arc lately, been a huge fan. Another thing I want to talk about, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, I don't know, is going to be like some of this AI stuff. I made a video on this. Where is it? It's my channel. Um, oh yeah, probably at the end of this stream, we're gonna go through, if any of you guys are still around. I want to go through and like change a ton of these old thumbnails because I feel like these are so much better. These new ones. This one's not great, and this video didn't do super well, which I'm kind of bummed about. But I think this is something I've been thinking a ton about lately. Is how to actually use these AI tech, use like AI and generative UI in our apps in like actually useful and cool ways. Because I mean, I don't know how on Twitter you guys are, but every 5 seconds it is just spam of AI is gonna either kill us or change the world or do whatever. And honestly, I've yet to see a lot of super compelling use cases for it outside of like cheating on homework. Copilot is a really good use case. The YouTube, TikTok type algorithms are a really good use case, but like I haven't seen it in a lot of just day to day things. And a lot of times, the things I see most people building with it are just GPT wrappers. So I really want to go through and figure out, okay, how can I use this AI stuff to actually like enhance my products instead of just like being a wrapper on GPT. We're thinking a ton about this for Insider Viz and the stuff we're building here. We are 100% going to end up building like an LLM interface for this where you can prompt it, it'll have access to our data set, and it'll give you like a way to interact with our data set over text, which I think will be really dope. But I don't know, we'll see. That's a topic for another day. I know that's not why you guys are here, so we'll go back to the main stuff. My guess when Svelte 5 will come out, will it beat React? Because I think with version 5 it will become a beast front end framework. Yeah, I'm really bullish on SvelteKit right now. I think it's kind of I think we're very much in the sort of calm before the storm period of SvelteKit. I think it's what we have is really good, but it is really niche and it does not have huge mainstream appeal yet. But I think what we actually have is freaking amazing. I love the way the framework works and all this stuff. And once Svelte 5 comes out, it is going, I don't know, it's going to be so freaking good. I'm, I don't know for sure how this is all going to work, but I'm very, very optimistic about Svelte 5. I don't know when it's going to come out. I have no insider information on any of this stuff. I know just as much as you guys do, but from what I've seen on Twitter, I'm guessing it seems like maybe April or something like that. They might like formally announce the release date in April and then maybe it'll come out in like May or something. I don't know, but there are so many changes in Svelte 5 that I'm so excited for. This sample project is actually using runes. Um, Instead of the old system, and I really like the runes. I like them a lot better than the just old Svelte system. And also some of the different things like snippets are going to be really dope. I cannot wait to have those. The Yeah, it'll be snippets. The way they have like the new stores are going to be probably easier to work with and make more sense. Um, the new effect rune, my biggest gripe with it when I first saw Svelte 5 was this new effect rune. Um, because this just gave me use effect PTSD, and I don't know how much you guys know of like what I've done in the past, but I have done some I've committed some atrocities with use effect before, but this is a much less foot gunny uh, implementation of effect. It doesn't do as much, but it's also a lot cleaner, and it just reruns anytime any like state variable inside of it changes. So it's a lot less scary to work with, and I think it'll be fine. And then state and derived will be great. I made some videos about that back in the December when we were doing the like advent of Svelte stuff. So yeah, probably release date for Svelte Summit in April. I agree. I agree. Okay. So let's go over here. Um, let's add in here. So, what are the main things I want to talk about here? So the first one is definitely going to be we need to go through and make the photo video. We need to do that. I want to talk about show the project. We want to go through and yeah, I want to talk about it in the like context of how we're actually using it and the sort of motivation behind this. Yeah, basically what it does, what's the motivation. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. So I want to talk about Hono. I also want to go through and the between me and actually making stuff. Yeah, that I'll see what this is. I might just end up talking about this on stream and then we will actually turn this into a video another time because I'm not too sure if I want to record this one yet today. We'll see. Um yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the something I definitely want to talk about is going to be this whole concept of like cuz I'm it's kind of been crystallizing and making more sense in my head recently is this idea of actually like I want the technologies and things I'm working on to have a lot less I want less friction between me and actually making stuff. And that's a lot of the problems I have with a lot of the different like pieces of technologies. And I think it's the thing that I try and optimize for the most in the stuff I pick and the stuff I try is I want it to be as easy as humanly possible for me to actually take the thing and make the thing. Cause um I have such a long list of projects and products and things that I need to make and that I'm working on that I really just I want to get to production as fast as humanly possible. That's kind of my main goal right now. Um, your language is Magic 2 because it gets compiled to instructions for PC, so Svelte is just a language for UI. I think should be well-defined language for use of UI on all platforms. Well, this is honestly an interesting kind of thing, which is I mean, theoretically, it would be great if we could get like a centralized standard for interacting with UIs on all platforms. I think the sort of HTML system is or the HTML markup syntax. I see that in a lot of different places, but I think this is kind of getting into the whole idea of I don't think we're at a point where like we even need a dedicated UI language because this will probably eventually just turn into like um machine code for AIs and stuff. So like I don't know. Um yeah, I don't know. Learn how someone to do it for you. It's a big deal for you. Yeah. Okay. All right. I have rambled in circles and just kind of gotten stuff set up for long enough. We're going to go ahead and actually let's go ahead and actually make this video. I'm basically just going to record this on stream. I think that's probably the easiest way for me to do this stuff. And then we can do that. If you guys have any questions, you can let me know while I'm doing it. But yes, let's do that flare. We'll do like intro stuff at the end here. All right, let's go over to this guy. Let's close this. Let's do that, and let's start recording. Okay, cool. So, so today, wait, actually, let me make sure I have chat open. There we go. All right. So what I want to talk about right now is going to be, let's go to this homepage. What I want to talk about right now is going to be, what I want to talk about right now is Hono. Hono is a HTTP framework for JavaScript. It's very similar to Express or Fastify or any of these different ways that we can go ahead and build dedicated standalone backends. And it's, what do I want to sort of say here? I think it's, no, it's all good actually. How do you actually finish projects? Well, I'm not very good at it. I'm trying to be better about it, but basically I think a lot of it is just trying to make it as painless as trying to make it as painless as possible to actually go through and finish the project. That's what's sort of worked for me, is the ending piece of a project tends to be the most obnoxious. It's really easy to get it to like 50%. And then once I hit 50%, it just hits a wall, which is really annoying. Oh, is it just lagging out? Okay, that's all right. That's because we're all right. We'll stop doing that. We'll hit that. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Whoa, okay. Oops, stop that. Yeah, yeah, hopefully it should. Okay, there we go. Has it unlagged? We looking better? Hopefully that should be less painful. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, I stopped the recording. Apparently my PC cannot handle that, which is unfortunate, but good to know. So I guess if that's the case, then really I can't record anything here. I guess I can download the video later and just do it that way, which will be fine. Okay, yeah, so if that's going to be the case, then let's go over here. Let's go ahead and do pnpm run dev. Let's go ahead. I want to add something to this real quick. We have this guy here. I want to, for the sort of examples and stuff I want to talk about here. It's still a slideshow? God dang it. Okay, good. It should be hopefully back. What was happening was I was trying to record to my disk during this, and apparently that was destroying the destroying the actual stream. Which sucks, because that's gonna, but I need to figure out the workflow on this. I'm kind of just trying stuff right now, honestly, with this stream. I'm just thinking about that. Is this a Hono advertisement? No, I have no affiliation with Hono whatsoever. I just want to, I've been messing around with this because I'm looking for a dedicated backend for one of the projects I'm working on. And that's what we're gonna be talking about right now. So yeah, let's go ahead and update this real quick. Let's go ahead and make a new, in our DB directory, let's go ahead and make like a data or something like that. And let's just make like todos.ts export const get users to-dos equals async, and then we'll say user ID be a string. So this is just to show off effectively the different ways we can do things. Const to-dos equals await. We want to do db dot select from to do table dot where eq. We'll do to do table dot user ID is equal to user ID. We'll do return to dos. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. And then we can go ahead into our, we go back into our API, into our to-dos, and we go in here. We can go ahead and just const to-dos equals await get user to-dos. This is obviously like really redundant here. The whole reason why I'm doing this is to illustrate a point. Because if we go into our to-dos root here, into our page.server, we can say res.data equals that, but we can also do another way to get the to-dos is to just do const to-dos equals await get user to-dos, and then we do user.id. Okay. There we go. And then we can return res.data is just to-dos, so we can just do API to-dos is this, and then we can just do, whoops. Then we can also just do to-dos here, and then we have our response. Okay, there we go. Still laggy, dang. What to do? Yeah, Hono's definitely, I haven't heard a huge amount about it, but it works. It's very good. Dang it. Oh, my internet sucks. I apologize. Content live. Sorry, you guys are kind of just the okay, there we go. My internet, that should be good. Theoretically. Yeah, it's not on you. Oh, God. Oh. Hmm. So the video is just exploding, but the how do I fix this? Oh. Oh, is it because I'm output? Oh, it's because yeah. I just figured it out. Yeah, you guys are right. It's the 4K. It's the 4K. That's the problem. Oh, god dang it. Oh crap. I don't want to I don't want to restart the stream because I don't want to. Oh well. Oh, dang it, that sucks. That really sucks. Okay, well, yeah, it's on my end. Okay. Well, let's just pray. I'll be back. Okay. Well, hmm. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Oh, cool. Okay, I think it seems like it's back. It appears. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, it's down to 1080p. We should be good. Um, yeah. All right, awesome. Thank you for bearing with me here. I don't usually do much streaming stuff. I'm just testing this out cuz I don't know. I think this has a lot of potential. I want to try doing this more. Um, really like I don't have any huge ambitions to make streaming a huge thing I do, but I think it would be a good way to get more be able to get more content and get more things out, which is something I definitely want to do. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, so we can go through now, I think. Uh let's go ahead now and actually get the let's finally go through the Hono stuff now that this is all put together. Everything looks good. We're back on this. It's working. All right. Appreciate it, guys. We're back to normal. Okay. Um this 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 okay. Good, good, good. Okay, so yeah. Um there we go. All right. So, there we go. Clean this up. All right. So yeah, basically what I want to talk about here is going to be Hono, which is a dedicated backend standalone JavaScript web server thing. It's very similar to like Fiber in Golang world or Express or Nest.js or any of these different frameworks. But what's really nice about this is it's super lightweight. It runs on any JavaScript runtime, and I can stick this into my SvelteKit app. And why I would want to do that, well, I'll explain in this video. So, to begin, I think the best way to show this off is to actually show how this is working. So, I built out a little SvelteKit demo app thing here. I have the Git repo for it. Go to GitHub, go to BYOB. Yeah, there we go. So this is a nice little template I put together here to get all this stuff put together. Um, we can we can definitely we'll talk about clean architecture stuff later, but this is I agree, but also like I think this is kind of I don't know. I don't know what fully clean architecture is, and I've seen a lot of different things in different projects I've looked at, and a lot of time like if you're talking about like the MVC controller type things, I'm not personally a huge fan. I think generally speaking, you just try and keep things semi organized and just kind of put them where you need them and then worry about a lot of that stuff later. But maybe that's wrong. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, effectively what we've got going here is this is a normal SvelteKit app here, but in my source lib directory here, I have a full Hono API. So lib API, you go to this index.ts. This is actually, if you look at their documentation over here, this is literally just a full Hono server working in my SvelteKit app. And what's really cool about this is we can mount this and run this through we can run this and mount this through our API routes. So we can do API slash, and then we spread out the slugs here, and then we go ahead and pass all this information into these request handlers, and this will now serve the Hono API through our SvelteKit API. So I go over here to actually run my server. I have it running. We can go into my Thunder client here. We can do HTTP : localhost this guy / API. I believe I have something on this. Run this. No, we don't. API index. What roots do we have here? No, we do have one here. Oh, I think it's because I don't have the cores middleware. Yeah. So we went to localhost 51 / API. Yep, we'll get message servers healthy. I don't have the cores stuff set up, so we'll do that later. But effectively what we've done here is we have created a full standalone JavaScript backend server within our SvelteKit app. So instead of having to use SvelteKit's built-in routing system, which is their little like plus server.ts stuff, I have a good example of this within my callback here. So like my GitHub auth callback thing here is a GET request exposed through this server.ts. This works super well for actually getting, oh, sorry. This is a super nice way for us to actually expose normal HTTP verbs and create normal backend web servers. But this has a huge scalability problem because if we went ahead and tried to build out like a normal backend web server where we had like 10 routes for our users, 10 routes for our to-dos, all these different things for a real application, this is just going to get to be unwieldy and a huge pain in the ass. So being able to create a traditional normal web server here with our users / index here, and we have our me route, and we have our to-dos, and we have all this stuff in here, this is a really nice way of being able to do things. But the really interesting thing here, and the thing that I really wanted to kind of, well, there's a bunch of things here, but one of the things that I really want to talk about here that I think is really cool is the RPC feature that we have within Hono. So there are a lot of different ways to do data fetching, a lot of different ways to organize your projects and make everything work in these full stack JS meta framework lands. There's a lot of ways to do it. And one of the ways we can now do it is with the Hono RPC feature. If we go over to their, we'll go here to guides RPC. If we go over here to their RPC feature within the documentation, we can see that you can create these Hono clients and actually get end-to-end type safety on your API routes. This is very similar to, well, it's not quite fully similar, but it's in the same sort of spirit as tRPC or something like that. It's just that this doesn't quite have nearly the same functionality as that does because that wraps React Query and that has its own dedicated syntax for creating endpoints and it's its own kind of thing versus with this is really just a wrapper around a fetch request. I mean, this is basically just making a post request to client / posts. And we can do that within our SvelteKit app by going inside of our, we'll do a good example here is the to-dos load function. Within this load function, what we can do is we can do locals.api.todos.get, and we can get these, and we can actually call our API / to-dos route and get the information from that, which is super helpful. I have this parse API response function here. If we go in and look at the definition, basically all this is doing is it's running the fetch call and then it's just getting the data back in a much more manageable format, which is really nice to have. And then we can go ahead and use this data normally. But, you know, in the real world, this is cool, but a lot of this will just turn into an obscene level of boilerplate if all we're doing is just working on a SvelteKit app or something like that. If our entire project is just going to be served through a SvelteKit app like this example is, where we just have a page here with our to-dos and stuff, and we need to be able to like toggle them in here, and then we need to be able to create them and that kind of thing, you know, this gets kind of silly because it's just going to create more boilerplate for no reason. And that's a huge thing that I've kind of talked about in the past, where I don't like having a separate backend or something like that when I'm using these full stack JS frameworks, because it's just going to create more boilerplate for me to deal with. This is really not that different from having like a separate Golang server or something like that, where we would just have to, in our load function, make a call to effectively what's another backend and get that data down and then use it. While that does work, it's not, at least in my experience, it's not the most intuitive thing in the world, and if you don't have to do that, you don't have to break it out separately, especially if you're working by yourself or in a small team, which is what I'm doing. I really, really like having everything just working right here. And to illustrate this point, basically what I did is I created this extra function here called get user to dos. And within the would this mean that we would still need a normal API server? No, it doesn't. This is I'll talk I'm kind of getting I'm trying to sort of build towards the actual big use case here. Um but effectively what this means is when you're doing these full stack JS frameworks, kind of the point been trying to make for a while is that you don't need a normal API server. You can just make these functions within your lib/db/data directory or wherever you want to put them. And you can just literally say get user to dos and you can wrap your little database call here. And then within my load function here, I can just fetch my to dos. So I can just do get user to dos. And this is a lot less boilerplate and a lot less stuff to do than this locals.api.todos.get, which is which is not that different from having a separate backend on a different project or something like that. So we go over here to our what's it called? Yeah, because if we go over here to our where are you? API/todos/index, this todos get request is actually calling that exact same function that we can call within the load function. And that's kind of the point I wanted to illustrate here is that we're doing the exact same thing here. We can just do that thing in our load function, so we don't need this. So if that's the point, which is cool, but if no, how do I want to put this? So if we can do all of this stuff in our load function, why the heck am I even talking about this? Why did I bother to go through and build this whole demo with Hono and create this whole thing? Well, because like I said, this is a way for us to create a Hono web server and serve it through our SvelteKit app, which means that I can create a full REST API, which can be consumed from elsewhere in my SvelteKit app with really good DX and get tons of type safety and consume this from another application. Effectively, what this means is I can build APIs in Hono and then host them through SvelteKit. And the reason why I want to do this and the reason why I'm interested in this is for one of the projects that I've been working on, which is Block. This is I'll definitely have more things to say about this in the future, but really effectively all you need to know for right now is that this is a mobile application. It's a built-in React Native, and we need a backend for this. I have been racking my brain trying to figure out exactly what the best backend for this is going to be. Do I want to do a dedicated Golang backend? Do I want to use Supabase directly in the client, which is what I was doing initially? Ran into a bunch of problems there, and it quickly became a huge pain in the ass to where I'm like, yeah, this probably isn't a very good idea. Or do I want to go ahead and now actually just, or do I want to just use a JS backend or something like that? And one of the things that I can do here is this Hono client and this Hono web server is a really nice way of making these backends. So I can just serve this through a JS meta framework or something like that. I can host this on Vercel or Cloudflare Workers wherever I want to, and I can consume this API on my app here. I'll go ahead and pull up the project. Why not? CD block, CD block app v2. Oh, I need to look over here. How are you doing, Francisco? We're not going to be replaced by Devin next week. Dude, I have so much to say about AI and stuff like that. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. Is to centralize all of your resources. Yes. Will we be replaced by Devin next week? Of course not. But I do think that there is I think that this AI stuff is getting crazy and I want to do more stuff with it. I put out a video very recently about the Vercel AI SDK. It didn't do very well, which I'm kind of bummed about, but there is a lot of stuff that I want to talk about there. I might change the thumbnail or something. I don't know. But yeah, I want to figure out how to actually get I very much want to figure out how to utilize and run AI stuff into my applications and actually use that in my products, which is going to be that's a topic for another day. But if we go ahead, let's go ahead and open this up in VS Code. So the main point is you can migrate away to standalone Node.js server if the API grows too much. Exactly right. It's actually better to use with Astra TS. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of dude, actually ask her, that's a really good call out. That's actually a really good point. The Hono client plus AstroDB plus like React or something in there to make that work. That would be really nice, actually. Huh. That's a really cool idea. That is a really cool idea. I want to think more about that. But that's a really cool idea. That could maybe actually fuck, maybe in some ways for like block and stuff like that, that makes more sense even than SvelteKit or something like that. Huh. I hadn't thought about. I mean, I'm not building the main. I'm not using AstroDB for the main database for that application. That's a database question, and that's another thing that we should probably talk about today. Um, yeah, share it for sure. Um, Still pondering. A lot of frameworks provide a way to expose API endpoints. Yes, they do. And this is kind of the point is tons of frameworks provide ways of exposing API endpoints, and Hono allows us to create a web server that we can stick into any of those API endpoints. So I can create my little Hono server box effectively, and then I can stick that into a Next.js app, or a SvelteKit app, or an Astro app, or just a standalone dedicated Hono server. If we get to the point where it's scaling super far, and we want to move off of whatever we're hosting it on because it's getting too expensive or something, which I don't think that would happen with serverless, and if it did, we'd be making so much money that who the fuck cares. But for the hypothetical, let's say we did need to do that, you could easily just take that API server out, take that piece out, stick that in a Kubernetes cluster or whatever, and then it'll work. It'll work really well. The problem is for those coming into the industry, things were already bad and now they are more scared. I totally feel that. Trust me, the AI existential dread is 100% a thing. I am 21 years old and my friends and I talk about this stuff all the time. We've had many conversations just sitting on the kitchen floor at 5 a.m. talking about how the heck this stuff is going to work and what the future looks like. I totally get it. Very, it is scary, and I wish that things would just stay the same, but they won't, and they're going to change, and these technologies are 100% coming, and I think the best thing that we can do right now is figure out how to embrace and use and get stuff out of them as much as humanly possible. And that's kind of what I have been doing here is I recently like I've been like using Perplexity more and messing with this. I've been trying to use this to help me build stuff more. I've been looking into different ways of building stuff with AI, and I think honestly I should do a stream or something where I go through and actually start building out the AI stuff live because I want to try this. I made that video about the Vercel AI SDK because I think that's going to be a super important thing for when you're building stuff starting, I mean, now and going into the future. It's going to be really important for us to figure out, okay, how do we use this technology to not replace what we're building, but enhance what we're building? And I don't have the answer to that question, but that's something I've been thinking about a lot. Can Astro and SvelteKit be used for the same type of an app? 100%. You can use, at this point, pretty much any of the mainstream frameworks or any of the mainstream things. You can build whatever you want with whatever you want. I could build the exact same app in Golang plus HTMX in SvelteKit plus Terso plus Drizzle in Astro plus Prisma plus PlanetScale. You can do whatever the heck you want with basically whatever the heck you want. There are a bajillion different ways to do things these days. And that is admittedly kind of a hard thing because it creates this sort of shiny object syndrome, which if you look at my channel, I'm 100% guilty of, where there are a million different ways to optimize down specific problems with different frameworks. But really at the end of the day, these things are generally speaking designed to work for specific problems. At least if you look at their marketing and you look at kind of how they work, like Astro is very much designed to, even though you could build a super complex UI driven stateful app like an internal, like if you guys are in college or something like Carmen or some of these internal gradebook things, you could build that in Astro with islands and stuff like that. But it'd be a lot more pleasant to build that in a React app. Just like you could build your blog in a React app, but it's going to be a worse experience for the user and probably for you than it would be to build a blog in Astro, where we can use like the markdown system and stuff like that to actually print out our content and do stuff there. So it's really just while they all are capable of the same thing, they specialize in certain things. Okay, let me go ahead and pull up. I want to pull up this repo. And speaking of like Astro, I do want to pull this up because this is a cool idea. Yeah, Axer pulled the came up with this. Sorry, I'm 100% butchering your name, Asker. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, what is this? So Astro full stack source pages. If this you're doing things the way I'm kind of okay, yeah, API. Yep. Okay. So yeah, this is exactly what I was saying is you can create a Hono server or whatever, because this is very similar to what we're doing in the JS app. You can create this and then you can go ahead and then just make a handler for it and then export that here and then serve that. So if we go into your lib/util/API, yep, you have a Hono API right here. Where are your routers here? Oh, okay. I got you. So routes, yep. So you're able to create your hello route here. You can create your, yep, exactly. So this is it's a very similar process. The thing that I was thinking about that could be really interesting with Astro is my biggest problem with Astro is it does not have a super nice way to talk back and forth to the backend. Let me // where are you? Let's go into R&D. Let's go into where was my, oh yeah, okay, let's do code. Yeah, let's just do, oh wait, no, I already have that open. Let's do cd / block. Let's just, I'll show you guys the landing page stuff. So we'll do cd landing page v2 and we'll do code dot. So this is a really, really great example of, we don't need to keep this. Well, I don't care about, we don't need the showcase added in here. That's not important. We'll go ahead and do that. Okay. So if you watched my AstroDB video, I talked about this stuff in here. And one of really the biggest problem I think with Astro personally is it can be kind of a pain in the ass to make like post requests and stuff like that because there's no nice built-in type safe way of handling that. Next.js now has like the server actions and stuff like that. SvelteKit has form actions. Vue I think has stuff like this, but Astro really doesn't. It just exposes like an API. But in Hono, we have these where are you? It's we go to GitHub or oops, sorry. If we look at the RPC thing in Hono, being able to say client.posts.post and then pass in this data and get this nice end-to-end type safety for our post requests and stuff, this would be a really nice way to, what are you, why do you keep jumping to this freaking computer? That would be a really nice way to actually work with your APIs in an Astro app. You can see in here, where are you? Where do I have the sign up box? It's index.ts div. Sorry, I wrote this like many months ago. I'm trying to remember where I put everything. Oh yeah, top sign up. Okay. Top sign up. Yeah, so I made a little Svelte component in here. So yeah, I mean, literally all we're doing here is we're making a fetch request to list add, and we have to do all this stuff. And we end up doing like a fetch request like this, which totally works and is totally a fine thing. But it'd be really cool if instead of having to do this, we could use our client-side Hono client to wrap this and get RPC features there, which I am a huge fan of. I think that's really cool. So yeah, that Hono plus AstroDB, that's a cool idea for a stack, for sure. It's very, yes, this is very much like TRPC, very, very much. If you only like the JSX templating part of React, I mean, probably I would look at either Solid, because that I haven't done anything with Solid, but it's like React but more powerful, effectively. Well, that's kind of reductive. That's not fully true. I don't want to say that, but it's a good alternative to React. But honestly, Astro is probably a great thing to try out because you can create React components in here, but you don't have to deal with Next.js, which is what I'm assuming you're not enjoying. That's what I hear a lot of people have problems with. Is I personally like, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I think App Directory and all the new all the new stuff in React land, I think it's really dope. I'm a huge fan of app directory, of server components, of all these things. I think they work really well. But I totally get that a lot of people don't. So, um oh, sorry. I get caught up just ranting on stuff. I have a student who doesn't want to to come into front end because he said the skills to learn are too much compared to the need for it after all the AI stuff. Again, I don't. I mean, this might just be copium, but like, I don't think that's true. I think that there is 100% like, you can look at all the demos and stuff that we got out of these AIs and stuff like this, but it's not at the point right now where it can completely replace a programmer. And, you know, I think you can still provide a ton of value by being a programmer. You're just going to have to, the bar is going to be higher for sure, and you're going to have to be able to utilize the AIs to do more ambitious things faster. And you're going to have to be effectively enhanced by the AI. And that's a big thing that I'm trying to figure out how to do, not enhance myself and enhance my projects. But if you do those things, you're still going to be needed for a very long time. I mean, I don't think it's there. Um, let's see. You're leaning on shipping your own products. AI will just help you. Interns, on the other hand, will suffer for sure, and juniors in general. Yeah, I think the thing that the juniors and stuff will suffer for is going to be the learning, because they didn't have to go through and actually learn as much because they just had the AI handholding. And something that I think I talked about this in videos a long, long time ago, but one of the most important things I found for learning that really helped me learn pretty fast is ensuring that whenever I'm making something, I understand what's happening up and down. Like, a good example of this is when I was going through and putting together this Hono stuff. I was very careful to ensure that I had a good understanding of what every single line of this was doing, because pieces of this were taken from a template that someone in the community made, and I could have kind of just taken that template and tweaked it or whatever. But I wanted to make sure I understood, okay, what does it mean when it says variables, middleware variables? Where are those coming from? How are those being set? And the way that they are being set is through this auth middleware. And then what this middleware variables is doing is this is giving us the type of what this c.set should be. So this c.set is setting these two keys of session, which is going to have a type of session or null, and this user, which is going to have a type of user or null. And then the middleware variables, we're going to have a session and a user. We're going to set those two. And then this is saying that within our actual API roots now, we can go ahead and do c.get, and we can get our user and our session because we've provided these variables in this middleware. But making sure you understand that kind of thing up and down is super important. And the AI will abstract a lot of that away from juniors. And, some of them will be motivated and they'll go through and make sure they understand all of it, but not necessarily all of them will. So it's a tricky balance. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Just Mr. Yeah. Senior like me can do way too much to justify an intern, so the job market is getting smaller. This is 100% going to be a thing. Again, I'm kind of talking from the outside going in because like I said, I've said this before, but like, I'm still trying to figure all this stuff out for myself. I'm not some 30-year industry veteran guy. I'm just a guy who's made some stuff and really enjoys this stuff. I mean, that's all I really am. And but even I can see like the job market is going to get so much smaller. A lot of these like really big and ambitious projects can be built with smaller and smaller teams. And especially as those teams really learn how to use these technologies and learn how to use AI and learn how to utilize a lot of the powerful modern things that we've got access to. I know people love to shit on like full stack JS and shit on JS in general because, oh, it's JS and it's not a real backend language or whatever. But the things you can build with, you can build things so quickly and so honestly, I think pretty well with these frameworks to where I think tiny teams are going to be able to do insane things. And that's one of the things I really want to prove out this year is the guys and I want to see how far we can push our little team. I want to see how big and ambitious we can get our projects. Like the new Insider Viz release is going to be it's really big and it's really ambitious. Block is a very ambitious project, and I've got more things I want to build, and I want to see smaller teams go really, really far. And I think that's going to be the future, which is really exciting for those of us who can make those projects really quickly and easily with small teams. But it's going to cut jobs. I mean, I think the best example of this that I remember in the news is like Elon cut like 70, I don't remember what the exact percent was, but he cut an insane amount of the Twitter staff, and it's running just fine. And that says a lot. He cut a huge amount of people and it's running just fine. You don't need an obscene amount of people to run a lot of these things. So, yeah, there's going to be less jobs in the future, and it's going to be, oh my God. I need to get rid of that shortcut. Whoops. So yeah, there's gonna be less jobs in the future, and they're gonna be more competitive. But you know, if you're here looking at a stream with if you're on a, what is this, like probably a 20 viewer stream on a very, very niche YouTube channel, it's floating out in the void, like you will be fine. Yeah, like 30 concurrent viewers on a Saturday. If you're like watching this, you're gonna be just fine. I promise. You you are all good. Um. Okay. Penners, I don't really find AI useful. It's always been confidently wrong each time I use it, so it feels like more effort than it's saving. I agreed with this for a long time, and it's yeah, oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it is literally just trying to guess the next appropriate word. That is how it works under the hood. But I think it's more useful than I think you're giving it credit for, and personally, I have I was kind of like you. I didn't really believe in it, but really in the last like week or two, I've been really trying to spend more time with it and do more stuff with it, and I have gotten huge benefits out of it. A great example here is I'll show you some of the stuff I've been working with here in Perplexity. But you look at my library here. Um, do I have it still saved in here? A lot of my Hono exploration work and stuff I was doing, dang, it's not saved, but it was done via Perplexity. And it was wrong about some things, but it got a lot of things really right, which was really nice. And in Block, it's been super, super helpful. Um, oh wait, actually, I have an even better example. Whereas, yes, here it is. This has been one of the most useful things I've gotten out of AI is it does a great job of getting a bunch of niche random information that I can't find documented places and displaying it out to me, which is super nice. This we're working with a new MySQL instance for Insider Viz. We have a new data set that we've made. It's like the best data set on the market, if I do say so myself, for insider trading data. And I needed to get this working on my machine. So I talked to Perplexity. I'm like, okay, how do I get this working in a local MySQL container? And it gave me these steps, and it gave me all these pieces that would have been a huge pain in the ass for me to go find elsewhere. And it's not like I don't know what's going on here. I understand what this command does, but I wouldn't have been able to regurgitate it out of nowhere. And this allows me to very quickly, easily do that. And if I need to ask it something that's kind of niche, how do I restart the MySQL container and then this time expose a port? It does a really good job of giving me the information I need to do that. And I got this thing working in like 10 minutes versus in the past I've tried to do this and it took me hours because Docker and MySQL are a pain and I'm kind of an idiot. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean hot BBQ, that's a good take. I don't think there's going to be less jobs in the future. They will be more competitive, definitely, but it's always the case with new inventions. Exactly. I mean, it's just I think the biggest thing is you just kind of have to embrace the new efficiency and just be like, okay, well, we have this new tool, we need to use it and figure out how to do it. And I don't have the answers on that yet. I don't know exactly what you need to do to use it, but that's something that I'm personally exploring a lot is how do I use it. Hired an intern and gave him 3 months. His only task was to learn Drizzle and translate a database schema to Drizzle. He quit after 2.5 months. In a three, I wrote the entire day. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, bro, you gave him 3 months to translate a database schema and he couldn't do it. Like, is that guy okay? No, in 3 days. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the skill level of this intern or anything like that, but that's like, I don't know. I mean, the first time I learned Drizzle and needed to translate it, I mean, I learned Drizzle in like the basics, at least enough to translate a schema from a database. I mean, I learned that in like a half hour. Like that's not hard. I mean that just sounds like kind of a rough intern. Um oh yeah, exactly, Milos. Like yeah, you can I actually did the exact same thing. Let me show you guys. We go into my library here and we go into block and the schema work that I was doing, I literally gave it the JSON schema I was doing in my notebook in my Notion document and it translated this to Drizzle schema. It wasn't perfect, but it was close enough to where I could pass in this whole thing. I could get the schema out, update it a little bit, and now it works. And this whole thing saved me a ton of time. It's stuff like this which AI is super, super useful for. Yep, AI is super ideal for boilerplate, and 100% this is the most time consuming. And this kind of goes into the thing I've been talking about a bunch on this stream, but reducing the friction between me and actually solving the problem, not sitting around dicking around with freaking Kubernetes and Docker and a bunch of random config files. Um, boilerplate is a huge part of that. I the reason I'm such a fan of fullstack JS is because I can do stuff like await get user to dos in a load function, get end to end type safety, and bang, it just works. That is awesome because that has reduced so much friction that I don't have to make an API route in some separate backend framework. I don't have to document that. I don't have to call that. I don't have to type that on the client. I just call this function and run it. And now instead of sitting around and thinking about, oh God, how do I transfer this basic array from my backend to my front end? I just figure out, okay, how do I use this array in the best possible way for my end users? That's what I love about this. So yeah, 100%. I'm totally with you. Um, AI is just a better version of Google search engine. Can't think. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Oh my God. Um, yeah, I used to like AI. I've heard that too about Francesco for actually, you know what? Why am I holding this up? I'm thinking about chat and stuff right now. Let's just pull them up. Let's go here. Let's copy. Okay, we'll do this. Yeah, because I want to just kind of talk about this stuff because I'm enjoying this. Um, yeah, I get way better answers from GPT back when it came out. Yeah, I've heard this from a lot of people too. That it's been getting worse over time. And I've heard some takes on the idea of this is that AI is just averages, and that as more AI stuff has been put into the world, it's getting retrained on itself. So the average is just getting worse. We'll see if that's the case. I've still been getting really good results, and on Perplexity, I was trying out with the new Claude 3 Opus model, and that was giving me fantastic code suggestions. It was up to date, it was using libraries, it was citing sources really well. I had a really good experience with that. Um, yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I can talk about this. Could Hono bring new security vulnerabilities? Are the roots already secured by Lucia? Yes. So what I did to make this work is we go in here. I'm like all over the place. I apologize. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm kind of just talking. I don't know if this is working or not, but you know, I'm enjoying it, so hopefully you guys are too. So pretty much in the uh what is it? Um So to dos, yeah. So to actually get our to ensure that we're protected and all that stuff, is we have this middleware here, which gets all of our Hono informations or our Lucia information. So we grab our session cookie, we ensure it's there, we validate if we need to, and then we go over here into our to-dos, and then we can go in here and we can ensure the user's logged in with this helper function. And to define this, all I did is we just grab the user in session and then we throw an unauthorized if they're not authorized. So that's how we can protect roots really easily. We could turn that into a middleware as well, but I just kind of like doing it that way. Um, yeah, okay. Um, Not trying to bully you, but you've got some weight. Go to the gym, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. I live in the gym. I'm in the gym 6 days a week. I mean, it might look weird. I don't know what it looks like on the camera. I don't know what I'm there, but no, I'm in the gym all the time. I have like a 300-pound bench. Like I'm big. It's mostly muscle. Trust me. The angle's probably shit, and I kind of have dog shit posture right now. But trust me, though, I am in very good shape. It just might not look like it, but I am. Um. Okay, so let's see. Hono is a really good thing for people who's for sorry. Yes, and this is a thing too. This is something that I get pushback on this in the comments, and I think it's definitely something worth talking about. Is this whole idea of like having how separated your like backend stuff should be? Because there's totally a world where like Hono makes a ton of sense to like just have a separate like API server backend where if you just want to live in backend land, you can live in that. But for me personally, I don't love doing that. I like keeping my front end and my back end super tightly coupled because of the way I build stuff and because we build stuff in small teams. It's really important to me to be able to just what's it called? Uh it's really I want it to be as easy as humanly possible for me to go from writing my client side front end code to my back end code for me personally, but I'm working on small teams. And if you're in a gigantic team and you want to have a separate back end, then that totally makes sense. Like I'm totally down for that. And this does feel like a good way to do that. You can then just basically hoist this out and maybe in a monorepo or something, you pull that guy out, you can do your stuff in there and it gets basically the same experience. Refresh this. Where is it? Okay, there we go. It's all good, Eskier. I'm not offended. It is all good. Yeah, it's because I'm sitting and because like I don't know what the angle is, but whatever. Um yeah, I mean stupid this is 100% a thing. This is actually kind of a problem I have with Golang is it lacks a lot of the really nice things JS has. I know that a huge thing that they talk about is just write raw SQL, just do everything custom. The standard library is really good. Do everything there. It's all totally true. Totally agree with all of that. But for me personally, I'm I like having stuff like Lucia and Drizzle and Socket and all these things. Like I like these nice abstractions and libraries, and those don't really exist in Go. So yeah, it does kind of suck. Um, oh, he just didn't know SQL. Oh yeah, okay. What is my most mastered language? 100% TypeScript at this point. 100%. Of all the languages, I know TypeScript the best at this point. Um, in school, I did a ton of stuff with Java. I did a lot with that, and I was actually very, very good at Java. I was, well, I'm still in school, but but I'm not in any Java classes anymore. I was very, very good at that. Um, but I don't really use it anymore, nor do I want to. Um, well, I don't know if I'm the right guy to really understand the things, but I appreciate it. um, but yeah, my most master language is definitely TypeScript. It's the one I work with the most. I spend the most time with it. I I don't know. It's also too just kind of like it's the one I'm the most excited about right now. I'll probably get bored of this and get burnt out on it in like a year or something. Like that's usually what happens. And then I might go back to Go or I might go to something else that's random. I don't know. I'm just kind of building things. And right now, my favorite way to do that is with TypeScript. Um, well, that's good to hear, Asker. I'm I have little to no experience streaming, so I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm kind of just talking. I don't know if you're supposed to have like more of a structure for this or something like that. That's something I've kind of wondered. Like, should I be doing dedicated things? I want to get videos out of this is kind of the thesis, but I probably need to just think more about how I can actually do that. It's also one of the biggest problems I have right now is chat is super delayed. So whenever whenever you guys say stuff, I respond really late to it, which kind of sucks. So I need to get that delay shortened as much as possible. But these are all quirks we'll figure out. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. The viewership seems decent enough for this. I want to get Twitch working as well, but I need to ask some people how that actually works. I've never done that before. Um, yeah, Java is the definition of boilerplate. It'll be fun when I don't want to do it right now, but it'll be fun one of these days. I can show you guys like some of my old college exams and stuff and the things I did in there and what that looks like. Cause I know a lot of you guys are like older, so I think it'd be cool to show you what the kids are going through these days. And my God, the amount of polymorphism and interfaces and inheritance and contracts and Java doc that I wrote is insane. We were handwriting all of the Java boilerplate. And that's actually something that I'm not a huge fan of. Um if you go over to the where is it? Oh God, why do I keep losing it? Oh dang it. It's the full BYOB, but I don't have it anymore. Dang it, that sucks. Oh well. Oh, I want to start this actually. I want to keep just throw this up here because I want to reference this later. This is cool. Um yeah. Mm-mm-mm. But yeah, the point that I was trying to go for there was the other like bring your own backend template utilized a lot of like the controller logic. It utilized the factories and the classes. It was very tons of boilerplate, tons of stuff in there to create like a clean architecture type thing, which I'm personally just not a huge fan of. This might be a horrible take and this might age horribly and this might blow up in my face like crazy. But my personal favorite way of architecting things is just when I need some data, I just make like a get data type function and I create a little directory. I put those in there and then I just call them where I need them. I don't need to have some special system thing. I went deep down the like domain driven design rabbit hole last year when I was really into Golang and stuff, and I got nowhere. I just ended up going in circles and I couldn't make a hello world. I was trying to figure out the idiomatic way to make a hello world and I just couldn't figure it out. And honestly, at this point, I think all I really care is like I just want it to work, man. And I just want to solve the problem. And yeah, when you get to like enterprise scale, you might have to make some changes, but that's not what I'm focused on right now. I'm focused on just solving the frickin' problem. And I want to reduce the friction to that as much as humanly possible. And this is the easiest way to do that. Where's the chat? Where are you guys? Okay, cool. Your channel was recommended by YouTube when you mentioned Svelte and Go. Wanted to see if I should build a backend and Go and learn about. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think I said in that video way back when I made that I really wanted the answer to be that you build the backend in Golang. That's always been my how do I put this? I think Golang is really cool. I think it's really hype and I love on paper what it does and it is really fun to write and it's really cool. But it's not the most productive way to do things, at least for me. I think it's totally a relative thing where like if you get a guy who's super experienced with Go plus HTMX and put them up against a guy who's super experienced with React server components, they can build the same thing in the same amount of time and it's going to work super well. It's totally fine. But for me personally, I feel like you kind of like I'm just creating too much boilerplate plate and extra crap for no real benefit. Like Vercel is fast, Terso is fast, Drizzle is fast. These things work really well. They provide a really great user experience. They provide a really great developer experience. And I just can't justify to myself creating all of this extra crap for myself to deal with to where I don't know. I just don't I just don't use it. I'm just currently full stack TSing it. Although we do have Golang in production right now, and I am using it for real in a project. We are using it for background workers and for some crawlers and for some really cool stuff with concurrency. So I might make a video about that or write an article or something because I think that's a worthwhile thing to show off the way we were able to get the SEC to stop being annoying, and it's a really cool thing. Um. Oh yeah. Sorry. It's a bad habit of mine. Yeah, I'll try and not grab the mic and stuff. Um Go community seems to be reinventing the wheel, which seems great too, but I see people making tons of money using Rails. I mean, yes. I honestly I haven't been super up to date with the Go community lately. I want to pay more attention to it and see what it is, but the big thing is like they lean super hard into standard library, especially from what I remember. So like generally speaking, there are a lot of ways to do a lot of things, which, yeah, I don't know. But as far as people making money, there's people making money on every technology. I mean, there's actually, I haven't seen the first like big production Golang HTMX site. I want to see that. I want to see one of you guys put your money where your mouth is and really make a really big scalable, impressive Golang HTMX site that makes a lot of money. Because I can think of a lot of sites out there that are built with like Next.js and built with React and built with all these terrible technologies, which make a lot of money. Same thing with Rails. I don't like Rails, but it does work really well. Um, let's see. Let's see. Um, look, actually, to do end-to-end type safe with Golang and TS, you can use, yes, you can 100% do this. You can do this with Swagger and you can do this with a client generator, but this is going to be code generation land. And I don't like code generation unless I really have to use it because it makes building more complicated, it makes CI/CD more complicated, it makes Devon more complicated. And again, this is just creating more friction between me and actually doing stuff, which I don't love. Um, yes, I mean I'm not the guy to ask about job application stuff, but yes, there are a lot of people in entry level positions. I was just gonna learn Go because being a terminally online engineer, you hear a lot that Go is good for backend, which it is. But didn't need to know how good TS lives have become with Bun. Um, how do I put this? At least to me, and I could be wrong about this, but it feels very much like the current in style language is Go. All of the hype is in Go. A ton of people are really excited about it. They're making a bunch of videos about it. Stuff about it trends. If I was purely just chasing numbers and stuff, I would probably do better numbers if I just made a bunch of Go content and stuff. But um, it's just you don't have to use it. Is the point? It's a great solution, but you don't have to use it. Um, some examples of money made using Scratch. You mean like Scratch the programming language? I think I played with that when I was like 11. Is that the little like crappy game engine thing with the weird little cat? That was an experience. If someone's made money off of that, then I want to see it. That'd be the greatest thing ever. I work at a company where Rails is the holy grail, but I've done everything to stay away from it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean like again, I totally get the appeal of Rails, but again, I think this is just kind of a perspective thing. Like I think for if you've been doing Rails for years and years and years on end and that's all you know, it totally makes sense why to you Rails would be the fastest and best solution for everything. But for me, I don't like Rails. I don't like the system of doing things. I much prefer this in full stack JS land. I I tried using it last year and there's too much magic in it to me. I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. Using it's like creating an open AI client to interact with the API. Yeah. Yeah, Swagger is great. And actually, I think Open API, Hono has really good support for Open API, which is super important because before I went down a million different rabbit holes, what I did want to talk about, and this is not going to be a video. I'm going to have to shoot this off stream. I'm either going to have to get more disciplined or figure out what to do. I don't think this is a good way to make videos. But basically what we can do here with our Hono API is we can serve this through our SvelteKit server, and we can use this separately as a separate API. And that's what I think this is really useful for, is to consume this API elsewhere. And I want to consume this in the Block app. So I'll go ahead and Block app -v2. We'll do git checkout dev. We'll get pull bun start. This is some React Native stuff. I know that's not something I've ever really talked about here, but that is a thing that I've been doing a lot of work on. Yeah, this guy right here, we'll let him open up, give him a moment to build. We'll go through. No. There we go. Okay, so like within this app right now, this is all just front end client side code in my little React Native app, and we need to make a backend for this. And I think the way I'm going to make the backend is I'm going to create a Hono server here, and I'm going to make a Hono API. I'm going to serve that through probably like a SvelteKit app or something, hosted on Vercel, use Terso for a DB, and kind of just thug it out that way. I know that seems kind of cursed and kind of crazy, but I think it could work really well. And I think the developer experience and speed on that could be pretty insane. So yeah, this will be, I'll keep you guys updated as we build this out more. This will probably be the first internal alpha will be done probably in like May range is kind of what we're shooting for. But yeah, this whole thing is going to be really cool. I'm very excited. But yeah, like I need a backend for this, and the backend for this, we can't get like, I can't run load functions in this. I don't have a server on this, so I do need a standalone backend. So I'm gonna try Hono, and I think that's really the point I want to make about Hono is it's really cool for that. What do you got here? Rich Harris said he wants to replace Rails with Svelte. Yeah, honestly, Rich Harris is just he's doing great work. And yes, that sounds about right to me, honestly. I mean, they do it kind of how do I put this? I don't know enough about Rails to be able to say this too intelligently, but from what I remember from the experience I had with it in school a year ago, is you would have like you would load a bunch of data and then print it into templates, and low key that's kind of close to what SvelteKit does. Like we expose a load function here in our page.server, and then we basically use the data from that in our page.svelte, which is effectively just a JavaScript framework enhanced view or HTML template. Like that's basically what this is. So it kind of does feel similar. It's just we get a lot of the benefits of full stack JS land with stuff like Drizzle, and we get end-to-end type safety, and we get the ability to host this on all the modern serverless things and Vercel and all these great things. So yeah, that makes sense. How did I build that beautiful app? Tried React Native, but didn't get too far. Because I cheated. I have a designer working with us. The founding team for Block, we have a designer on our team, and he's incredibly talented. I don't want to leak the designs before we put everything live, but I haven't talked too much about this publicly, but it's going to be sick. When we're closer to release, I'll start marketing it and talking about it and doing stuff, and that's going to be really cool. But yeah, the app itself is gorgeous. I'm so excited for it. Oh man. Oh. Is it good that you're working as a freelance dev I'm assuming you mean you're 17 years old and exploring all the things. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. That's what I basically did when I was your age. I kind of just, my friends and I, we screwed around doing a bunch of different stuff. And eventually that turned into much bigger things. And we were able to build real projects like this. And, we've actually made money off of this and we got funding for this and a bunch of stuff. Like we were able to, it compounds over time. And it's definitely, you're never, I don't think that there's a world where you will regret building stuff now. Um what was I using for styling? Native Wind. It is literally just Tailwind but for React Native. It works the exact same way and works you just, yeah, you get Tailwind classes in React Native. That's how we styled it. Cuz I don't know. I mean you can do normal Expo styling and stuff. Oh, or sorry, you can do normal React Native styling, but personally, I like Tailwind a lot, so I want to keep that centralized because we're using that for both the mobile app and also for the landing page and for everything, so it makes more sense. Um, oh here. Actually, is this better? Sorry, I'm really bad about this because I am so used to I'm so used to doing stuff on my own big 4K monitor. This should make the chat way more readable. That's so much better. Um, yeah, okay, that's definitely nicer. Um, I'm hoping Tari 2 goes out of beta and I can build mobile apps using Svelte with Elysia and Hono on the backend. This would be cool. Um, I've seen some stuff about using Svelte for mobile apps, which a lot of it is very interesting, and I'm very curious to see how it all ends up working. Um, I haven't done anything with it other than seen it. But I don't know. React Native has such a head start, not just because of React Native itself, but because of Expo. Expo really does make your life so much easier. Back in the day, my friends and I did what's it called? We did some game dev stuff where we created like some crappy mobile game type things. And it really, the most annoying and torturous part of the entire thing was getting it deployed to the App Store. Apple is amazing for consumers, but my God, from a developer perspective, it sucks. So having Expo makes it so much easier to actually do that because through their CLI, they'll handle the build for you, they'll handle the like signing for you, all the crap you have to set up. They make it so much easier. And that's the really the big reason we're using React Native is for that purpose, is because well, it's cross-platform and it has all these things. We really only care about iOS right now, but it just makes it so much easier to actually build and ship these things. Um, let's see, animations, state managements used local SQLite DB. Animations, we the components just kind of have them built in. For the state management, that's all currently just using base React state and probably will stay that way. Then for local SQLite database, no, we're for our backend, we're going to be doing that. We need a separate backend for this. Initially, we were using Supabase for our backend here and just doing it directly client side, but that quickly proved to not be a good idea. So we're going to do a dedicated backend. I don't know enough about Tari to really say anything about this other than it looks neat. That's all I really need. Um, React Strict DOM. Heard the name, have not read about it. Don't know. Um, yeah, React Native is awesome. I mean, like, again, it's React, so like, React sucks or whatever. But like, in reality, it is really good, and I'm a huge fan. It has overall been a very good experience. There have been some very painful things. I have spent a lot of time fighting Tim Cook in the terminal, but that's just mobile app development in general. Like, that's how it's going to be. And as far as mobile dev goes, this is the best experience I've ever had. Best way to handle auth across Expo and a standalone backend like Hono. Self-hosted. Well, yeah, I don't want to. My gut is telling me like the easiest way to do it for sure would be something like Clerk or something like that. And Clerk actually has a really great integration with React Native. Um, But the problem you run into here, and at least for my project here with Block, is it's 2 cents per monthly active user after 10,000. And that just ain't gonna work for the sort of way this app is gonna have to work because this is again, I'm not gonna talk too much about the actual app here because that's not really the point. But the gist of it is, in order for this app to work, it's going to need to scale really hard, really far, really fast. And it's going to need to have strong virality. And we're bootstrapping this thing and we're just coming up with it ourselves. We need this to explode to tens of thousands of users pretty quickly for it to work. It needs to have that virality effect. It needs to have a really high K factor on user acquisition. And, you know, if we're if we have to pay 2 cents per user, that's going to get really unsustainable really fast. So we are going to custom roll it. And I think the way we're going to do that is I'm probably going to use Lucia still, but I'm just going to use Lucia like a lot of the like helper pieces. So if you go into your callback server function here for like logging in with GitHub, because we're only using OAuth, I don't want your password. I never want any of that stuff. So in here, we're going to go ahead and just we're going to use a lot of the utilities that Lucia provides to make our app work. So we're going to do lucia.create session and we're going to create sessions via Lucia. We're going to create not session cookies because we have to store these differently. I need to look into this more. I don't have a good answer right now. This is something I'm working on right now, but we are going to end up using probably a lot of the utilities from Lucia and the surrounding libraries for it. It would be cool if there was something like this, but I don't know. Lucia, at least from what I can tell, feels very dedicated to like Svelkit land and stuff like that. Or I guess like Svelkit and Astro and stuff like that. It does not seem to be a very React, because there's a lot of solutions in React world anyway. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how I'm gonna end up solving this. We'll see. When I do, I might make a video about it, but also I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards not. I'm kind of leaning towards not making a video on that just because, like, I don't know. I've made too many videos on auth stuff lately. I didn't really intend to or mean to. It just kind of happened, but I need to chill on that and make other stuff. Keep pushing, moving forward despite all the craziness. Seeing someone at the same point I am trying to figure out things. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm very very, very much in the trying to figure out things point. We will see how it goes. I got a lot of stuff I want to ship and a lot of things to figure out. I don't have a lot of answers. Really, kind of the thesis of all this stuff is it's just, what these videos are and what the things I'm talking about here is it's just like, this is the stuff I'm interested in. This is the stuff I'm excited about. And here are my thoughts and opinions on these things. And they're going to be wrong. They're going to change. But, at the end of the day, I think it's a net positive to like, because even if you don't end up using Hono or you don't end up using Svelkit or you don't end up using any of these things, I don't think anyone's going to be worse off for having learned about them and having experienced these new technologies. You're going to learn new concepts. And there are a lot of concepts that, I don't know, I try and put it into words and I haven't fully done it. There's a lot of videos that I want to make that I wish I would have had 2 years ago when I was like learning this stuff. But yeah, that's a project for another day. But yeah. Okay. You've got this in here. Oh man, I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. Actually, I want to run a test here. We're gonna run a test. Let's go back over to this. Let's go to Hono course. I want to get the Google Expo auth session. It seems like there are helpers to get auth. Yeah. Yeah, the Expo auth session. I'll look into that. I do not have the answers for it yet, but that is definitely something I need to figure out. We'll do this. All right. I will see you, Mr. Mendez. It was great having you here. Where's the course? Oh yeah, okay. So it's just this. So we want to add this down here, and we're just gonna do star. We're gonna do, what do we call this? Whoops. Okay, there we go. So now that we have cores enabled, oh god, do I even have this server still started? Yeah, we want to do pnpm run dev. Okay, cool. Then we want to go back over to this, and we want to go to this and send. Keeps refusing that connection, which is very, very bizarre. Yeah, I don't know why this is getting refused out of my little HTTP client here. So that's really annoying if this doesn't work here. Maybe if I go, can I? Yeah, okay, it does work. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Whatever. But let's not worry about that. Let's close that up. Let's open up this guy here. Let's do on runs. Actually, we'll just, I want to do a quick test. I'm not going to do anything major here. We'll just go to the start of index. Yeah, login screen. We'll do use effect. We will set this up here. We will go over here and run this. We'll do const res equals await fetch. And then we're going to do http :/ this. And then we'll just do const data equals await res dot. Oh wait, whoops. We need to async this up. Const call equals async this. Oh, React. You beautiful, interesting young man. Res dot JSON. Console.log data. Okay, we'll do this. We'll do call. And then we're going to go ahead and do bun run start. And then we're going to go ahead and open this up in iOS. And we'll see if this works, because this is kind of the proof of concept that we go all the way back to the beginning. This is the proof of concept for, what's it called? Our little guy here. Oh, hey, Alexander. Yes. This is actually exactly what I want to talk about next, is the free alternatives to planet scale. Because we've been rambling in circles for quite a while about this. Why not Svelte? For this project here, this is React Native. So the reason I'm not using Svelte here is because there is not, there are ways to build mobile apps natively with Svelte. None of them are nearly as good as Expo and React Native. So we're doing Expo React Native here because this is a serious project. Oh yeah, sick. Okay, cool. Server is healthy. API request works. Right, awesome. That's the proof of concept I wanted to see. We can go ahead and just delete this. Save that. Don't want any merge oh, delete you. Should be good. Okay, excellent. Okay, good. Good. Quit that out. Close this, close this, close this, close this. Okay. Oh yeah. That didn't age very well. That's unfortunate. This is from a recording of a video which has not gone live and probably won't go live, but yeah, that sucks. Okay. Let's go back over here. Yeah, so the project that I was showing off there is, it's not something I've talked a huge amount about yet. I will have much more to say about this in the future, but basically it is a full React Native mobile app, and it's going to be running probably a Hono backend with Drizzle for the ORM, Lucia for the auth. And then the big question we need to answer here is, what database should we use? Because this is an interesting question. Yes, my main site does currently use Next.js. Um, this guy is all Next.js, but it will not be for long. This will be rewritten into well, it is in the process of being rewritten into SvelteKit. So that will be a SvelteKit site. For my actual live websites, very soon here, all of them will either be written in Astro because they're like blog sites and more content driven, like this guy, or they will be written in SvelteKit because I like SvelteKit a lot better. I just prefer the patterns, and for the stuff we're doing, it makes more sense. So as far as the free alternatives to PlanetScale, this is something that I've been thinking a lot about, and I have a video that I'm going to make at some point soon here. I need to think more about it. It's going to be like, I think the working title is betting on SQLite, and I think probably the best alternative I can think of right now is Terso. I agree with this. I think it's Terso, Cloudflare D1. Those are the two big ones I can think of in SQLite land. Really a good place to kind of look at some different database options is to go here to Drizzle, to go into you just kind of look at all the databases they have on offer here. So let me zoom in. So we go over here to PostgreSQL. There are a lot of different options in here. So we have Vercel Postgres, Supabase, Neon, just normal Postgres, whatever. I am very much of the, I don't want to use any of these except for maybe Supabase. I think Supabase is really good. If I was going to use Postgres, I would use Supabase. I'm not a huge fan of any of these other ones. For MySQL, we just have PlanetScale or a normal MySQL server. And then in SQLite, we have Terso, Cloudflare D1, and then a bunch of other different SQLite instances. I think to me right now, Terso is the most interesting and compelling one. And it's the one that I think I'm going to run here. But that's, I don't know. It's a very tricky question because this project is going to be heavily built around virality, and if this works, it will work because it got a huge number of users overnight, and I hope Terso can handle that. It's my only concern because PlanetScale was initially a no-brainer. We develop it on the free tier, and then when the time comes, we ship it. But we're not going to ship this for many months, and it's fully bootstrapped, and I really don't feel like paying $40 a month for all that, and I also just don't love, from a company standpoint, some of the stuff that happened there. So I don't know. It's a tricky question. What about Neon? I don't want to talk too much about Neon, mostly for the sake of I've never tried it seriously. All I can say is that I've seen some stuff on Twitter about reliability issues. Do more research on your own for sure, but for me personally, I have not. I need to do more research on it. I'll just leave it at that. How many is one billing read rows? React strip dong is very exciting. Can you standardize whole UI lives? Yeah, I've heard about this. I need to research into this for sure. Terso for future projects. Again, this is what I'm leaning into. And also a huge thing with Terso and SQLite is if we go in here to CD R&D, we do code BYOB slim. Whew. If you look at this project here, we're using Terso here, but the local development experience is incredible because we have our local database. I am using a prod one here, but for local development, our local database can literally just be a little local.db because setting up like a local MySQL or Postgres instance is not insanely difficult and it's not that hard to do, but it's annoying. And I don't like annoying. I don't like more friction introduced into my workflow versus SQLite is just amazing. It's so nice being able to say db push, bang, local.db created here, seeded correctly, everything is there, do our development, If oh man, I messed something up, I need to change it, no problem. Delete the file, make a new one. It's an amazing developer experience. And that's a huge thing where I'm like, man, the DX on Terso and all these things is pretty legendary. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards it hard. I'll put it that way. Um, how many is one? Do you mean like a billing read row or do you mean billion? Because for billing read rows, that's a tricky one for like, if you have like 100 entries in a table and then you select 10 of them, but it's not indexed and it has to search over all 100 of them for the filter, then I think that counts as 100 billing read rows, I believe. Please try Rust. I know everyone is constantly rambling about it, but it's seriously incredible. I've been using it for all my backend APIs, and I'm really getting the hang of it. Yeah, for for fun, I want to try Rust at some point. 100%. It's been on my list of things that would be really fun to do, but the problem is this. Like let me just kind of give you guys a list here. Like the stuff I'm building. The let's just actually list these out real quick. So we've got insider viz rewrite block v1 build out. I have 2 unannounced ideas / projects that I want to build. These will be more mini SaaS type things, but I think they'll be pretty cool when they come out. We have I also have I really want to make like a create Svelte app CLI thing. Int app CLI. I don't know what I'm going to call this. We need to give this a name, but I really want to create a make it super easy to spin up a fully ready to go SvelteKit app with Drizzle and Lucia and SvelteKit and Terso probably and SQLite and all these things just prepped and ready to just cook. Because the most annoying thing is setting up the basics of a project, and I want to get this working really well. I also need to make GPT wrapper demos because I need to spend more time with this and test it. And I also need to just make more videos. So like I have a lot of stuff I'm building right now. I don't have time for Rust, and I need to make tech stack decisions, which work super well for me being able to build these things as fast as humanly possible because I want all of this done by like June. And that's very ambitious. But I really want all this done by then because I don't know, I need this stuff out in the world. So yeah. Yeah, thanks Ryan. Yeah, like I said, I'll more to talk about this in the future, but obviously I'm biased, but I think it's really cool. I'm really excited. Yeah, this is totally an option too. Running the app with Postgres and then just Dockerizing it into a VM. This is what I hear a lot of people saying. The thing I see people talking about, I don't know if you guys are on this or not, but on Twitter, I see people talking about Coolify all the time. I don't know what this is about. I need to look into this, but especially a lot of Golang people I know, a lot of Golang guys are really into Coolify right now. And I think this is kind of just a way for you to host Docker containers, basically. I think that's my understanding. But again, I'm just talking out of my ass here. I've never used it, so I need to learn more about that. But that seems like people seem really excited about that, so I don't know. Do I have a software engineer vacancy in my team? Not currently. I wish I did, but no, not currently. But if the time ever does come when I am actually able to hire people, which, if things work out this year, we might be able to next year. Viewers and people I know from this will 100% be my first choice. Watching your videos for a while. Yeah, this is my first time going live for quite a while. Oh, yes, exactly, Axel. This is actually exactly what I ran into when I was testing this. I was working on building SvelteKit with Cloudflare D1, but there is something truly beautiful about the way Terso works where I can just make a little local SQLite file and it just works out of the box. It's so nice. And yeah, there is more boilerplate and more stuff on top of it and complexity for Cloudflare D1, but I think there's also more power there. So I will leave this up to, I need to spend more time with it. Need to do that. Yes, exactly, Alexander. That's very, very much what I want to do. I think the SvelteKit ecosystem desperately needs a T3 stack style CLI. Um, I think we need a good templating system and way for people to start making things very quickly and effectively with SvelteKit. I've seen a lot of other people kind of make like paid things for this, but I don't want to make it paid. I want to make like a free open source CLI tool where you can go in there, create your SvelteKit app, add in, and it'll have Drizzle ready for you, Lucia ready for you. It'll have some example roots ready for you. Maybe have Hono as an optional add-on in there. All these things just prepped and ready for you to just go, and then you can actually build stuff, because that's what I want to do. And I want to make it as easy for myself and for you guys to build really cool real applications, because I think that's what we got to do. Let me see. Is there any real advantage to Postgres MySQL over SQLite? 100%. Oh yeah, I mean, these are much more powerful databases with many more features. The question is, do you need those extra features? And I think generally speaking, I don't, for a lot of the things I'm doing. Like just having text and numbers, it's kind of like text and numbers and tables and foreign keys and a very simple quick system is all you need for a lot of different things. I've never found myself using any of the dedicated Postgres or MySQL features. So I think generally speaking, yeah, SQLite kind of just works, to be honest. So yes, there are advantages to those, but also SQLite's advantage is its simplicity and ability to just do things. I think it's like self-hosted Railway Airflow. Yeah, this is my understanding of what Coolify is as well. It's self-hosted Railway Airflow. Yeah. These are cool. The things like this do intrigue me a lot. These services and products, which the idea behind them is they will go through and they will like host and manage. They like, how do I explain this? They're like, I mean, it's like this. It's like they're there to make self-hosting easier. A great example of this is SST. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but SST is a way for you to it's an open source framework and library thing that makes it easier to deploy full stack JS to Lambdas without having to use Vercel, because Vercel basically just abstracts on top of AWS. Now, I used to just think, oh, all Vercel does is, oh, it just wraps Lambdas. It does a lot more than that for you, and there's a lot more going on under the hood. If you run, I tried this out and trying out SST. If you look at how all this stuff works, just to spin up a Hello World Next.js app or SvelteKit app in Lambdas and stuff, there's a lot more in there than you think. There's an API gateway, there's a CDN, there's the Lambdas themselves. Getting CI/CD set up is not trivial. Like there's a lot of extra things that go in here, and Vercel is doing a lot more work for you than you probably think. So, and it also has a ton more features. So there's definitely a lot of value in that. But yeah, these like services which kind of abstract away things like that, I think are really cool. I'm a big fan. Oh geez, why are you so zoomed in? Oh, what the heck? Oh, there we go. Well, how's the stream quality looking? I'm hoping that's okay. I don't know. This bugs me, but I don't. Oh, that's the problem. Okay, well, whatever. We can deal. We can deal. Whatever. Okay. So I'm trying to think what else I kind of want to talk about. Oh yeah, that's something I wanted to sort of mention and talk about here is going to be like the scale alt. Yeah, the planet scale alternatives. And to me, right now, the big ones are Terso, Cloud, Flare, D1. Astro DB technically is, but that's really just kind of a subset of Terso, and also like it only works for Astro. And as dope as it is, and I am really excited about the stuff they're doing in, I don't know. I don't know if I'd quite bet on that yet, but we'll see. Then also we could just have like self-hosted MySQL or Postgres. That's totally an option too. We could also do a neon is there. Again, I would put a huge caveat on like I've heard some things. Um Vercel does have a database. I like Vercel a lot, but I don't like their database because it's just a more expensive wrapper on Neon. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone in good faith. Um, oh yeah, Cockroach is another one. Um, uh, yeah, Cockroach DB is another one. I have never used this before, but I've heard good things about it. And of course, you could just be like, if you're kind of a sociopath, throw in MongoDB. Um, where's everything? There we go. Well, thanks for stopping by, Nick. Yes, stream quality seems good. Okay, cool. I think YouTube's just yelling at me for no reason. That's good to hear. Maybe some background music. Yeah, I would actually love that. That would be very nice. I this very much tonight was just a very much just a test. Have not streamed in a long time, and I kind of wanted to test it out. I think I definitely need to think through. I probably need more planning because I'm not entirely sure how I would like do everything here. There's in all the things that I just kind of ended up randomly rambling about and talking about through this, I think there are tons of pieces of good content in here. I just don't quite know how to pull those out and how I want to organize all that. But yeah, I will probably end up doing this more. I think background music is a very good call. I want to get Twitch working because it has a better chat. Do this at a better time. And yeah, like the best the best like yeah, I mean Alexander, honestly, I kind of agree. Like I think just the talking and rambling is kind of good, and that's kind of why I like the streams is because it kind of gives me a prompt to run off of, if that makes any sense. Because when I'm thinking about this stuff, I'm pretty good at talking through and doing stuff, but it makes a lot more sense to me. And it's a lot easier when I have someone who like says something like this and I can kind of respond to it and talk about it. Like going down different rabbit holes and stuff is really good. And I think, yeah, the casual's good. Um, yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate that, Axel. I think yeah, probably get some music going. We'll add that in. I think I want to get Twitch working. I want to get a better chat system going. I need to yeah, I mean those are the big things. I think and maybe just having some more ideas on what to do. But yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoy this. Okay, that's a wild take, Axel. I mean, thank you, but like my voice being good is not something I ever thought I would hear in my entire life, but thank you. I am a I do not like my voice one bit, but then again, I've never met anyone who likes their own voice. So, that's probably it's probably just a thing. I'm also I gotta say I'm very surprised. I've been going for like 2.5 hours now, and my voice is dying. I mean, I I'm gonna need to get like some I don't know what to do to handle that, but I definitely need to get something to handle that stuff. Um, how about learn NeoVim? I think it's good. Otherwise, other Vimers. Okay. Oh yeah, this will be something I would love. This will be a fun thing to talk about here. Will be NeoVim and my every 6 months I take a pill. I go on a pilgrimage to NeoVim land. Every 6 months I try it. I try to make NeoVim work. I think I've done this before. Let me see. Let's go to CD. What's a good one? Let's do D1 tutorial, and then we'll do nvim dot. I've set this up many a times. I've tried it many a times, and every single time I kind of just get lost in the sauce, and I don't know. I haven't been able to get through the like 2 weeks of pain that it's gonna take of getting out of VS Code brain because I am so deeply used to VS Code. I spend hours in here every single day. And if you notice, like I am using Vim motions. Like I use Vim all the time. I love Vim. I'm totally down for that. It's just I do it through VS Code. I'm using the Vim extension here. So making the jump to full NeoVim is definitely something I need to do. I just haven't done it. Maybe that'd probably be a fun stream one day. Would be getting all that stuff set up, because that's something a lot of people enjoy, and it's something I've wanted to do. So yeah, I'll do it eventually. It's just every time I do it, I don't know, I'm so used to VS Code. I like my little side nav. I like my command P jumping between files. I like my extensions making all my languages and servers and frameworks work beautifully right out of the box. I like it. I like VS Code a lot. I know it's the soy dev take, but I like it a lot. So, I don't know. We'll get there eventually. Um, well, thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. I thought this would be fun. I wanted to try this out. Yeah. Yeah, I think Fireship does have a really good radio voice. There's another one. I mean, he's more of a streamer than a YouTube guy, but Pirate Software, if you guys have heard of him, he has a beautiful voice. No homo, but he has a beautiful voice. It's so good. If you're using NeoVim, all the beginners won't be able to catch up. Yeah, I honestly like this is kind of I actually kind of like this, that it would, how do I put this? It's more accessible and familiar to run stuff in VS Code, like just for normal people coming in who aren't super deep in like tech and stuff. When I show off code and stuff in VS Code, it's easier for people to see and understand it if it's in VS Code rather than NeoVim. Because to be fair, like this is not that bad. This is kind of fine, but keeping track of where I am and how I'm jumping around and all that stuff, it's a lot easier to get yourself oriented if you can see over here in the side nav, like, okay, I'm on routes, to-dos, page.server. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say like, oh yeah, this little side nav is useless. Why would you ever use this? And I think they're coping out of their minds. This is the most useful thing ever. I use this all the time, but that's also because the frameworks I use rely very heavily on file-based routing. Just having a fleet of page.server.ts's would be tricky if you couldn't visualize them nicely here in the directories and the way those work. So I don't really know. 100% into. I mean, this is totally correct. Like, all that matters is what you make. Like, and this is the same thing too. This is also true for like how you build stuff and how you build products. Like, we kind of learned this lesson with like Sediment when we were making that. Is we're switching that over to a Shopify site because like it was cool we made everything custom, but at the end of the day, all you have to do is solve the problem. The end user doesn't care if you wrote it in VS Code or you wrote it in NeoVim or you wrote it in Emacs. Who cares? Like, just use what feels good to you. And again, like I agree with this too. Like, I don't think well, a lot of hardcore Vim guys would say that you will become far more productive by using Vim, and maybe they're right. I think in specific instances they will totally be right. Two of my friends, like my best friends who I live with, we built Insider Biz together and all that stuff. I will sometimes like code with them and I'll like be standing behind them on their computer making some changes. And I will totally admit that it makes me want to jump out a window watching them navigate around a text editor, because they don't use Vim. They just use like mouse motions, and they'll like click around on things and they'll slowly awkwardly do things, and they refuse to use code formatters, so their code looks like an atrocity. Like, here, I'll abuse him, whatever, I don't care. He's a big boy, he can take it. Let's go to Insider Viz app. We look at this guy right here and we go over to the dev branch and the commit that was made yesterday. Like, let's see what the formatting on his code looks like. Bro, actually, no, that's not that bad. That's not nearly as bad as it usually is. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are okay. Okay, actually, he did good in here. Okay, these are fine. But a lot of the time when I look at their code, it's an abomination because they don't format anything and they don't like types and they don't like anything. But then when you go over in here and I go to top companies and I go to this company right here, okay, that's a bad example, weird company, but I go here, this graph is a fucking work of art, and I didn't write this. I didn't write the code for this. Like, this is probably the best code that's ever been shipped in a site that I've ever made, And this is raw dog JS D3, them just full sending it in their weird little setup, and it works. So like at the end of the day, as long as you solve the problem, that's all that matters. And, you know, they've solved the problem really well, and they did a damn good job on this. Oh god, I cannot wait for you guys to see the new version of this coming out soon. Would you recommend early dev to start job prep? Yeah, I can tell you how I got hired last year. I worked there for like 9 months, left to go back to school just because it was app agency work and it didn't really end up being what I wanted to do long term. But um, I still help out part time, but it's long story short, what I would recommend to start as an early dev for like job prep would be the way I got hired, and the easiest way to do it is to just build real shit. I sent them the code base for this site, and that was basically my resume. I was like, yeah, I am 20, I'm in college, and I built this. Here's the code base. And then they invited me in for an interview, and what my interview was we literally just went through the code base, and they just asked me a bunch of questions, and I just kind of knew the answers. One of them was like, we're having an issue. Well, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but like the point was, it was super easy for me to get hired because I had a real project. And something that he said, the CTO, when I was talking to him about this, is like a lot of the projects and new devs that they get will send them to do apps, and they'll send them basic things, and they'll send them things that were very obviously copied out of a tutorial. They won't send them things that are real life sites. This is not a perfect site by any stretch of the imagination. If you go and you inspect Element, you're going to see atrocities upon atrocities in here. Like, it's not perfect. But the point is, we actually built it, and we actually went through the process of building something real that people are actually using that solves an actual problem, and most people don't do that. You would be shocked at how much you can stand out by just doing this. I mean, we demolished the entrepreneurship competition at my university with this, just for the sheer fact that like our demo at the finals was like, yeah, here's our site with users that we're making money off of, and then we won. Like, it's you will distinguish yourself so much if you go through and you actually build something real, and you will also learn so much more. I learned so much from building this the first time, and I've learned so much from building other real projects, and that's why I'm partially so focused on all this stuff right now. Like these projects, I have been learning so much from them, and I will continue to learn so much from these, and I will get better. And it will also make it so that, if I do want to go get hired somewhere else, or I do want to do something, it'll make it so much easier because I have this litany of experience that I can just point to. It's making tangible evidence that you know things. And if you distinguish yourself by actually building stuff, you will be shocked at how easy it gets. Because from the hiring manager's perspective too, yeah, like you guys were talking about earlier, that they get flooded with applications over and over and over again. That's true. But the thing that you're not realizing there is how dog shit most of those applications are. Like they'll sift through thousands of applications and they'll just be AI generated to do apps. When if you have something real, you're going to stand out like really, really well, and you will be shocked at how easy it can be. Um, um, could you provide or share GitHub links so I can contribute? I want to make a real big open source project. Jarvis, if you join the like Discord and talk about things, the one of the big things I'm working on right now is that like CLI generator for a SvelteKit template type thing. That'll be fully open sourced. So if you I need to get a list of the people, because I mentioned this months ago, and I've been really disorganized. It's totally my fault, but I need to get everyone together, and we need to figure out how to do this. So if you want to be involved with that, join the Discord and like just ping me in there, and I'll get you put on that list for sure. A video on charting and Svelte is necessary. Yeah, these are good. All of the charts that we use are entirely custom written in D3, and I don't know enough to make a good video about that. That's the problem. I might bring on the guys to like interview them about it and like ask them how they did things, but yeah, it's tough. What I've found funny is some of your dives lined up with myself, learning something. Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear it, Liam. Yeah, for these videos, and what all my videos are is they've been super stream of consciousness, just kind of talking about like what I'm building and why. The these are kind of just the pieces of tech I'm really interested in right now, and I've kind of just been talking about them as I've been learning them myself. Oh man. Flowbyte, yeah, I've heard of Flowbyte, that's good. Um, yeah. Yeah, listen to Asker. Use Vim. Like, even if you're like a VS Code soy boy type thing, which I'm fully guilty of. I can probably bench more than you, but still, I do use VS Code, so I don't have the full, I'm not a full Neo Vim Chad yet. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, just like actually make stuff. That's really kind of my thesis here. And that's I need to turn this into a video. I don't know when or how I'm gonna do it, but I really just need, like, if there's one thing you can learn from me or any of the tech YouTubers or anything, is just like just actually make stuff, and you'll be shocked at how well it turns out. Trust me, you will. Um, okay. I'm trying to think. I'm starting to get a nasty um okay. Rush here, make sure it's all right. Okay. I can't think of anything major I want to talk about again here. I'm gonna put together a plan of more stuff I want to do. I'll probably go. I'm gonna try and stream like every day for the. I'm gonna be gone at the end of next week. I'm going to DC, but I'm gonna try and stream most days. I think I'm probably gonna call it for tonight because I'm starting to get a really bad headache and I'm really hungry, so I need to go eat dinner. And my voice is starting to break, but I think we'll get back into this tomorrow. Um, need to figure out Twitch, need to figure out background music, and need to figure out a way to get what's it called? Get videos out of this, because there was so many, like I enjoyed that a lot. I don't know on your guys' end how it was, but that was fun for me, and I think that went well. And I think that there were tons of like things I said in there and tons of different things which would make great content. I just need to figure out how to get those out and how to do that, like shorts and just videos in general. So yeah, I don't know. Thank you all of you for being here. I really appreciate it. Those of you in chat especially, you're awesome. Having people to talk back and forth to makes my life so much easier and it makes it better. So if you have questions and ideas, definitely tell me, and hopefully I will. Um, Actually, that's a great idea, Asker. We'll do that first thing tomorrow. That's a great. That's actually a thing that I can do. Is use the Astro template and build out. Um, we'll build out like a blog with that or something. Show off a real life use case. That's good. That'll work. Oh, all right. I'm gonna go crash. This has been great. Thank you guys for being here, and I will talk to you very soon.